Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cold Bananas Show. I'm John Hansen,
Hi, I'm Michael Olinger.
and in this episode we're going to review some of the hot releases from the month of May, starting with a remake of a 1980s film starring Anna Faris, and you'd think she'd be in the role as the quirky character, but she plays the straight woman in this one. It's called Overboard, and what did you think of that, Michael?
Well, I went into this kind of like I was a fan of the original Kurt Russell Goldie Hawn movie, but it wasn't like something that you like talk about all the time. If you start bringing up great comedies, you're not going to bring up that one. So it really wasn't calling out for a remake. I was iffy on this. Basically I saw it because there was nothing else to see that weekend. I went in with bottom of the barrel expectations and came up with a pretty charming little movie. I mean, it's not groundbreaking. It's not even particularly good. It's just that Anna Faris is good in her role, and Eugenio Derbez, he's really good at playing this type of role. He's really good at getting you on his side. He's funny. He knows how to do slapstick really well, and he's a really charming performer. And he does a lot here to elevate very mediocre material. And I mean, I could see he's one of the biggest stars in Mexico, like one of the biggest stars in the world, to be completely honest, who's just now breaking through here. And his work here can kind of show why. I'd really love to see him in something good, like genuinely good, not something that he has to make good through sheer force of his own talent. Because he turned what could have been just a completely, instantly forgettable affair into something that was at least mildly fun. So I feel comfortable giving this one, I'd say 3 bananas, surprisingly.
Okay. Now up next, change of gears. This movie stars David Tennant, I believe, and he's best known for Doctor Who and Broadchurch and Gracepoint, I believe. And it's called Bad Samaritan.
Yeah, now this one is pretty much a straightforward sort of cheesy pot boiler that you would expect to find on a rocket sled direct video. And this one is elevated by a somewhat clever script and by David Tennant's like completely unhinged villain performance. He is sinking his teeth into this role in a way that really goes above and beyond the Call of Duty. But I mean, the thing is that I was consistently entertained by this. So I mean, I can praise Tennant's performance, but it's only one part of the fact that this movie was surprisingly decent. Not great, it didn't reinvent the wheel, but it did do a nice job of melding sort of horror and mystery and crime together into a standard issue but really well done genre film. So I mean, I would say for the undemanding cool little pot boiler that it is, I would say this deserves 3 bananas as well.
Okay. Up next we have Tully, a film that has a good pedigree with the writer and director, but the previews to me didn't look that good. But what I've heard is this is one of those movies that's hard to make a good preview out of it. And I've heard that there's something that happens in it that makes it a good movie. Can you talk a bit about that without spoiling it too much?
Yeah, without going into any spoilers that would explain exactly what happens in the plot. This is a very personal, this is a very like down-to-earth movie, and really I can't imagine how you make a trailer for it, how you advertise it in a way to get across what it actually is. Basically it's sort of a Valentine to mothers, to the hard work that they do, to the emotional turmoil that they are put through, to the difficulties that they have to face in their lives, and the fact that oftentimes they have to go it alone. And it is very funny, very, very observant, very intelligent in the way that it portrays its characters. And like the broad strokes of the story are that Charlize Theron plays a mother of two with a third on the way who is incredibly stressed out. And when she actually has her third kid, her brother wants to gift her with a night nanny, somebody who will take care of the baby so that she can sleep through the night and recover. And it's hinted at that she might have been going through some sort of postpartum depression after previous births. And basically, you have this woman who's sort of pushed to a breaking point, who then forges a friendship with this night nanny. And because there are no slapsticky moments, because there are no like real overt pieces of comedy to hang a trailer on, there really was no way to promote this in a way to get across what it truly was. It's a patently non-commercial film, and really great one. So I would say this would be, I'd say, 4.5 bananas.
Okay. Now up next, we're really shifting gears to all the way back to 1996, Mario Van Peebles' a robot movie, Solo.
Yes, absolutely.
Do I have that right?
I think so. I mean, at least the lead performance was robotic enough that I could buy that was that. Now, for some reason, this is set in the Star Wars universe, and I'm gonna cut the bit right now and just say, obviously, we're talking about Solo, a Star Wars story, which is thoroughly mediocre from beginning to end, just completely wrote run-of-the-mill, and not in a good way. It feels like everybody's going through the paces. Like, what we have is basically a standard issue heist movie. It's like Ocean's Star Wars instead of Ocean's 11. Alden Ehrenreich, who takes over the Han Solo role from Harrison Ford, does not acquit himself with enough skill to make us forget Harrison Ford. In fact, he mostly seems to be doing his own thing, and in the moments when he slips into something that approximates Harrison Ford, all it does is remind us that he's so not Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford is sorely missed in this. He's surrounded by a lot of actors that just seem to be going through the paces. The only thing I can praise, unequivocally, is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, who, like, basically, he actually turns in a performance where we could see, like, it's not an impersonation of Billy D. Williams, but at the same time, it's informed by Billy D. Williams' performance. Like, it seems like Alden Ehrenreich is trying and failing to be Han Solo. It seems like Donald Glover has found this perfect groove where he's found a version of Lando that will evolve into the Lando we found and loved in Empire. I want to see more of him. Whenever the few times this movie comes alive, really it's when he's on screen. Everything else is pretty much disposable. I would say that this is a 2.5 banana movie.
It sounds like the sensible 10 slacks of Hollywood blockbusters.
That will be a fair assessment.
Okay. Up next, I think you are completely in the tank for this one.
Yes.
Deadpool 2.
Yep, I am saving the best for last here. Deadpool 2 is very, very good. It's much bigger than the first one, which actually I've seen it twice, and the first time I saw it, I was kind of thrown by the fact that that it was so big, that it wears its larger budget on its sleeve, because part of the charm of the first one was that it sort of felt like this scruffy underdog. It felt like the bad kid in detention was getting to play with the studio's toys, like something that was almost made under the radar, kind of like a alt-rock superhero movie, something that played to its own tune. Deadpool 2 does that, but it does it with all of the instruments and accoutrements available to a big budget film. They manage to tell a story that has its bad guys, but there's no discernible, I would say, big bad, and it pulls that off. it pulls that off. The entire first Deadpool was all focused on him going after one person who he had to get. And with this one, there are a whole bunch of minor foes, but for the most part, Cable is the one who has the big bad that he needs to get rid of, and Deadpool's whole arc is to basically stop him. Definitely stay through the end credits, because it has a series of hysterical end credit scenes. Just unbelievable, like, credit cookies that are just very, very funny, very cool. Like, if the first movie is Sex Pistols, this movie's kind of Sex Pistols with accompaniment by, like, the London Symphony Orchestra, which seems weird at first, but you can get to groove with it after a while. So I would say, maybe not quite as good as the first one. The first Deadpool is one of my favorite movies the year it came out. I would give that 5 bananas. This one sits a little bit behind it at 4.5, I'd say, but it's a worthy effort. It's a really good movie.
All right, so no bunch of bananas ratings this month, but Deadpool 2 and Tully came darn close, and we should check those out for sure. So thanks for your look at May movies, Michael. That's it for this episode of the Cold Bananas Show. We'll see you next time.